Hello and welcome to the Fools on Stools podcast. My name is Kevin Walker, and as always, I'm with my co-stars Anthony Council and Cullen Brown. Today is Wednesday, March 6th, 2022. We all hope you're having a wonderful day today. Thank you so much for letting us be a part of your day. If you have a great time and don't mind, please do post us, share us, or tell others about us. If you don't like what you hear, then simply tell no one. Today is National Caramel Popcorn Day. So, Cullen, being the resident popcorn dispenser slash worker on the group, what has been your experience with caramel popcorn, and do you even like it?
It's an interesting choice of words there.
Yeah, how to get it out.
Listen, I do enjoy caramel popcorn. You can buy some caramel popcorn at our resident Lone Star Popcorn shop located in Denton, Flower Mound, and Grapevine.
Sponsor us.
Yep. But yeah, no, it's really good. I think it's really good sweet popcorn. My family really likes it too. They always ask me if I can bring some more to the house and stuff. So yeah, I enjoy it. My family enjoys it. If you haven't tried it, I'd recommend you trying it.
Anthony?
I love caramel popcorn. I just want you to bring us some more popcorn. That one bag you brought us that one time was delicious.
Yeah, it slapped.
Yeah. I need to bring y'all different flavors because it was the same, like just extra butter. So I need to like differentiate
Extra
it.
butter.
Just you gotta remind me. You gotta text
Throw
me
some
next time
lime
I'm
in
working.
there.
Ooh, yeah.
I gotta
right,
still
the
try
lime.
that.
Yep.
Yeah, gotta try it. But
Yep.
remind me, and I'll bring some popcorn.
Yeah. Maybe we'll go to a baseball game since baseball season starts tomorrow.
Oh my god, I'm so ready. I'm so freaking
And we'll
ready.
have some extra buttered popcorn with a dash of lime in it. I think that'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
I would say today's episode is going to be, boys, I think that if we were to tell ourselves past Fools on Stools episodes, hey, I know you're worried about getting baseball. The CBA is not going great. I understand it. But if we were to go back and be like, hey, there's good news at the end of this. You will get 160 baseball.
There was light at the end of the tunnel.
There is light at the end of the tunnel. I think if we went back and told them that, they'd be very happy. So, boys, I think today it's not going to be just baseball, but it's going to be a lot of baseball, and I am very happy about that, and I think that y'all are as well.
And
Yeah.
also, we would have told them, free agency is going to be insane too.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of people
We
moving.
wouldn't even told them. Just be like,
Just
sit
be ready.
back, buckle up, and get ready.
Because
It's
if we
gonna
would have
be a
told
good
them that,
one.
we'd had to go into like spring training, how crazy high scoring that is. But listen, we're going to be talking baseball for the duration of the baseball season, and we've got plenty of people, not just the fools here in the studio, but we also got plenty of experts that we're going to be bringing in, talking some baseball. And again, if you want to get into the contribution of the show, you want to talk some baseball with us, let us know on social medias. But, we've got somebody here today who knows his baseball, and I can't wait to get into this discussion. Kevin, you want to introduce him?
Yes, sir. Mr. Brendan, are you on the phone?
What is going on, guys?
What's going on, brother?
Baseball is here. It is back. I am excited and ready to get into this.
Oh, my God.
Let's get right into
As
it.
you should. As you should.
Couldn't have said it better myself. All right, are we jumping right into this, or do you want to lead us off, Kevin?
So let's just start from, first off, baseball is back and it starts tomorrow. So let's just preview the season for what I guess our rough expectations are.
Yeah, Brendan, if you want to kind of go through maybe some individual awards, and then if you could take us through each division and kind of break it down for us, if you could.
Yeah, when we talk about individual awards, we want to talk about the MVP and the Cy Youngs and all that. Because,
Yep.
man, I
Yes.
got some picks out here ready.
We're ready for
Give
it.
us your hot take.
We're ready for it.
Now, my hot takes aren't as crazy as yours are sometimes, Kevin, but hear me out now.
Nobody's are.
Talking MVP for the AL, man, I'm looking at Seager, I'm looking at Vladdy, Trout, Juan DeFranco, Ohtani, and Bo Bichette is kind of my more out there one for you.
Okay. Do you think he could steal some of the spotlight away from Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in that
Man, with
Blue Jays rotation? Not rotation.
Absolutely.
Lineup.
Just with his fielding alone, I mean, don't get me wrong, Vladdy's hitting amazing, probably one of the best hitters on that lineup in general. But, I mean, man, Bo Bichette, he's quick. He's got the glove.
All right. Well, and then for the National League, who are you thinking?
Man, National League's another tough one, too. That's the big thing, is both these leagues, there's a lot of studs out there, especially this season alone. But I'm looking at maybe some Juan Soto action. We're looking at some Tatis. Acuna, maybe Bryce Harper again, Mookie Betts, Trey Turner. So those are kind of my guys I'm going with.
Yeah, I've
But
heard.
honestly,
Go ahead. Sorry.
honestly, man, Acuna, man, I got to give it to him. He's looking good.
Yeah. Now he is coming off a torn ACL, and he is not expected to join the lineup. It's reported until May. Do you think that could potentially limit his MVP chances if he misses a decent chunk of the season?
It can, and it definitely will be in consideration. But if he balls out like he normally does, honestly, it could bump him right back up in there in those talks.
I mean, he definitely has the potential for it. I'm not going to argue with you there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my question is, for those MVP finalists, was that an order that you had, like a 1 through 5, like a Cullen's list, or was that just hey, these are the guys?
Those are my guys.
Okay.
One of them for sure is going to become the MVP. That's
Okay.
kind of how it is. Because how early we are in the season with MVP, with how crazy it changes all the time, I'm not going to just take a shot in the dark on that. Now I'll give you my shot in the dark for the Rookie of the Year, 100%.
Okay.
And
Go
it's
for
not
it.
really a shot in the dark this year. So, this year, I think, Cullen, you're going to really like this. I'm looking at the J-Rod show out there.
Hey, yes, sir.
Oh, man. Listen, I hope that's the case, man. I'm excited to see him play in a Mariners uniform in actual games that matter. I'm excited.
The Mariners need it, and, man, he's got a lot of personality, too, which is going to make baseball just fun in general.
Absolutely. Now we got to get over to, because we talked about the fielders, we talked about the position players. Can't forget about those pitchers now. Who do you got for your Cy Young races in both the American and National League?
Man, so, all right. I'm going to have one hot take with the AL. Not really a hot take. He's a good pitcher, but he hasn't pitched last season. But I'm going to save him for last. So you got Garrett Cole,
Mm-hmm.
you got Shane Bieber, Robbie Ray. Now, for my hot take for you, Justin Verlander.
Okay. All right. Now, is that at all Astros bias?
It's a little bit Astros bias, but also think about it. Think about it. We haven't seen him for a full season, right? He's recovered from Tommy John's.
Mm-hmm.
He's warmed up. He's good. No one's seen him in a while, so people aren't going to be expecting his pitches as much as if you were just to face him that following season.
Now say somebody like Justin Verlander comes back after this Tommy John surgery and he kind of doesn't recover all the way. Do you think that's going to be the do you think that's where the road's going to come to an end for old Verlander?
I mean, he's getting up there in age. So, I mean, the Astros only gave him a 1-year contract, so it's going to be kind of one of those do or die kind of things for him, or they'll trade him off. I mean, he's still a good pitcher, and if you want to look at the A's, for example, who did absolutely nothing this offseason. I mean, me buying MLB The Show, the video game, I spent more money than the A's did in the whole offseason. So there will be teams out there for him, trust me.
Fair enough. And then in the National League, who are you looking at?
National League, I got DeGrom, got Scherzer, and Burns for sure. And man, Burns is my favorite.
Okay.
So with you throwing DeGrom out there, what are your thoughts on the injury status, and what do you think ends up happening throughout the year?
So Scherzer's going to have to take on that load at the beginning for sure. I mean, he's going to be their main guy. And I think he even was talking about how they think they're going to start him game 2 and not game 1. So, I mean, they're going to rely heavily on him until they get DeGrom back. But, I mean, once DeGrom comes back, I mean, man, it's going to be a nasty lineup with the Mets. Fair
enough. I mean, I think it'll also be very interesting, too. I just want to throw in Walker Buehler's name in there, a really talented pitcher for the Dodgers.
Yeah.
But other than that, I really like your list, and especially Mr. Milwaukee over there. I think he has a really good shot, Mr. Burns, of potentially coming away with this. All right. So now what we're going to do is you're going to run through all the divisions and maybe give us some wild card teams, maybe some at-larges, if you will. We're getting off the March Madness talk, but kind of run us through the landscape of Major League Baseball and how you think it's going to go this season.
And then, if you wouldn't mind, follow that up with your World Series prediction.
Yes.
Okay. So, let's see here. The AL East, man, I'm going to have to give it to the Blue Jays. I mean, I already have most of them down there for MVP status, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm going to have to give it to them. When we're looking at the NL East, man, the Braves, they're going to try to go for it, man, and I'm going to have to give it to them. Now, AL Central, I mean, it's a hot topic with everyone. Everyone's talking about them right now. Definitely going with the White Sox with them for sure. when we're looking at Central, like I said, that nasty pitching lineup that the Brewers have, I'm going with them. I mean, that pitching alone is just going to damage some teams out there. For the West, I mean, so hear me out. So my West predictions, I'm going to give it to the Astros again. They're the strongest team. I love the Rangers, don't get me wrong. But when we're looking at the Rangers, we're looking at they only have 3 players that were on last year's roster, basically, on that team. So it's a whole new team. This year's kind of their go out there and figure it out kind of year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, for my predictions for just the AL West in general, I'm going to go Astros, I'm going to go Mariners, I'm going to go Rangers, I'm going to go Angels, and the A's. I know the Angels and the Rangers, people are like, what? You're putting the Rangers above them? Like I said, I think it's such a different dynamic team to them that's why they're going to be ranked up there in third. People are going to either underestimate them. I mean, the biggest weak point is their pitching.
Mhm.
And that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
But that hitting, especially if you're watching some of that preseason games, I mean, good Lord, that team can hit.
Yeah, and then the NL West too, I think. So their
Yep,
last
the
one.
NL West. Yep, I got my Dodgers on there as well. I mean, again, that team's just nasty.
Yeah, I really don't think it's.
I don't think there's too
I don't
much
think
of a
anyone-
debate.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
there's much of a debate.
That's just a superstar, like deadly team.
Like the freaking All-Star game is going to be Los Angeles Dodgers, and then
Versus the world.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing too that'll be interesting is I know he's a hot topic right now, and people have their opinions on him. Trevor Bauer, whatever the league decides to do with him, if they let him come back this year, the Dodgers will have him in their rotation too.
I
You
mean,
got to keep that in mind.
That's
I don't
now.
know. I don't know. I mean, and I know that this is kind of going off topic. I just with something like that, we just don't know how the Dodgers are going to react on a situation like that. Because they may play him, they may not, they may trade him off, they may. Because like you said, there's a lot of teams that are willing to go grab. I mean, like you said, the A's will grab Trevor Bauer in a heartbeat.
The A's might not want to spend any money, apparently.
Right.
It's true too. So I mean, things like that are to be foreseen. But I mean, like it matters. I mean,
Right.
good
He's a
gracious.
former Cy Young winner. He's a good pitcher. His off the field stuff is an issue, but
Right.
I mean, it's again, that's all up to the league. And if they are able to get him as well in that just makes the Dodgers even more of a threat.
I
Absolutely.
mean, just when we thought they were done, they just go out and get. I mean,
Dodgers want to buy that World Series. basically.
Everybody.
That's what they try to do.
Look,
Yeah.
man, it's L.A.
Yeah.
They got the money
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
and the sunshine.
All right, so we've gone through each of the divisions. I think those are all fairly. I don't think there's going to be too much debate. I will say the Minnesota Twins could give the White Sox a run for their money in the
Yeah.
Central.
yeah.
And there might be a couple other matchups that could be closer in terms of the division races. But I don't think there's any huge debate. At least I don't think, guys. You got anything?
Mm-mm.
I kind of like your pick for the Brewers because the Brewers were really on a tear last year. Like they were really on the verge of doing something really good last year.
Mm-hmm.
And their pitching just kind of, I don't want to say it gave out on them because they had a lot of really unfortunate injuries, especially to their ace. So I'm really excited to see what the Brewers can do this year.
Yeah, and that's what everyone's looking at too. And again, the Brewers, their pitching staff is nasty, and then you have Christian Yelich. I mean,
Yeah.
throwing dots.
Mhm.
So I mean, it's something to look out for.
Absolutely. But now that we've kind of picked the divisions, I know this is very early. We haven't seen any of the teams playing yet.
Hey, like they say, it's never too early for a prediction.
It's never too early for October. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
No, it's not. That's true.
Brendan, if you had to pick as of right now your World Series favorites, who would it be?
So what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give you a list of 10 teams that I think for sure have a chance of making the World Series, and then I'll give you my 2 teams that they're playing against each other,
Okay.
and who's going to win in what game. All right?
All right. Sounds very specific. I'm ready for it.
Yep. I got you with my list ready here. So, we got
Sounds
the
like you
Dodgers,
did
obviously.
science.
Yeah, it's almost like there's stats and science to my madness at times.
Right.
We got
Right.
the Dodgers, we got the Blue Jays, we got the Braves, the White Sox, the Astros, the Brewers, the Yanks, the Mets, the Rays, the Giants.
Very
That
respectable.
sounds fair.
Okay.
That sounds fair.
All right.
Those are my teams that I think are going to be strong contenders for that World Series run there. Now, I think it's going to be a World Series with the Jays and the Dodgers. It's going to be a blue one, all right?
Mhm,
I like
okay.
that.
I like that.
And we're looking at Jays over Dodgers Game 7.
Wow.
Really?
Wow.
That's
okay.
Wow. Okay.
So
Now-
why do you say this with such a young roster in the Blue Jays?
Why do I say that?
Yeah.
Hear this batting lineup just alone. Top of the lineup, you got George Springer starting it off. You got Bo Bichette. You got Vladdy coming up there.
Oh boy.
Then you'll have Hernandez. You
Mhm.
have Gurriel Jr. You have Matt Chapman.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys.
You got
It-
Biggio batting at the bottom of that lineup, and he's a contributing player as well.
And I mean, man, you're talking about a team right there.
And their pitching rotation is really solid as well. I mean, they lost Robbie Ray to the Mariners in free agency, but they're still loaded in there, at least in their rotation.
Yeah, and I mean, and even when we're looking at the Dodgers starting lineup too. Now, the Dodgers batting lineup is going to give pitchers a run for their money. You're looking at number one, Mookie Betts. You're looking at Freddie Freeman coming up right behind him. Trey Turner third. Max Muncy at fourth. Justin Turner fifth. Will Smith sixth. Cody Bellinger seventh. Chris Taylor eighth. I mean, and Gavin Lux at 9. I mean, this lineup is.
It's a murderer's row.
It's elite.
Literally.
But I'm thinking it's going to go to the Jays at the end of the day.
Wow. Listen, hey, I respect it because the Dodgers are the most popular pick, I would say, in terms of who's picking for the World Series. So, hey, listen, I respect you going out on the limb. I want to retrack a little bit back because me and you have talked a little bit off air about this, but I want to give you the chance to speak your piece on air because you mentioned we'll call it a World Series bubble, if it were, World Series top 10. You didn't have the San Diego Padres. Now, the Padres do have a lot of, big name talent. Obviously, Fernando Tatis Jr. We have Manny Machado. And you gave me a really explanation as to why you don't think they'll be particularly in contention late in the year. Could you go ahead and kind of explain your thought process behind leaving the Padres out of the World Series bubble?
Well, so the big thing, too, and don't get me wrong, the Padres, great team. I think they're going to be competitive. They rely a lot on Tatis, right? And right now he's out with an injury.
Yeah.
Right.
And that is going to affect them dramatically. Yu Darvish, former Ranger, shout out to Yu Darvish. His pitching, man, it's been falling off.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how that's going to hold up later in the season because that's what happened to him. He started out hot. He was the hot topic. Everyone was talking about him. Oh, yeah, Cy Young, probably winner. He's going to do great. And then what happened? Man, the more that season went in, the fatigue set in, and it just started to drop. And then he started to come up again, and he was doing good. But that's his issues. When he gives it up, he'll give up those hits, and that's what's really going to affect him. But I think Tatis is the biggest piece that's missing from him right now.
Yeah, because I think we're all in agreement that when he's healthy, top 10, whatever you want to say, or how high you want to, he's one of the best players in the game.
Absolutely.
It's just a matter of his health, and availability is the best ability at the end of the day.
Yeah,
you know.
right.
So,
And if you're not available, you're not helping your team. You're not contributing to your hits, your fielding attempts. I mean, shoot, last year, do we not remember the double jump he did out on the field? I mean, my goodness.
Yeah.
He's an athlete.
Yeah, he is, and he's going to be definitely missed there to open the season for the Padres. Whew, wow. Okay.
So, because I'm just kind of thinking about all the teams that have been going and getting stuff in free agency and just getting busy. Where are the Phillies, in your opinion? Do you think they're just not ready yet?
The Phillies, I mean, they got some work, right? When we're looking at these teams, again, like we said, the Dodgers, the Braves, the Blue Jays, White Sox, Astros, Brewers, the Yankees, the Mets. I mean, these guys are building like super teams. Even the Rangers went out and bought some high talent team, right? And it's just going to take them a little bit. I mean, honestly, you're trying to contribute with, again, like when we broke down that Dodgers lineup, it's hard to build a team with that nasty of a lineup. And I think Philly's just got some work.
Yeah, no, I think they do have some big name talent on there. Obviously, they have Bryce Harper, Castellanos, the infamous Castellanos.
Yeah.
So they'll definitely be a team that can have moments. It's just going to be very interesting to see how they gel with each other come the season. So definitely a good point, though, Kevin. That was another team that I wanted to ask about. Anthony, did you want to maybe potentially ask something in terms of the baseball teams or anything? Do you have any questions? Or,
I mean, I think that, on the Dodgers, I really wanted to get this out. I kind of agree. Like, I don't think that the Dodgers will win a World Series this year because, and you can kind of bring all of the sports into it. You saw what the Lakers did, right, in basketball. Sure, give it to the Rams, okay? They had a lot of star power, okay? in the NFL, right? It's La La Land. But everything that happens in La La Land isn't all peachy creamy. Okay, if you look, Tinseltown's hard to play in. Okay, and just because you have all these stars, sometimes it can crumble down and be terrible.
It's either gonna go really good or it's gonna go really bad.
Yeah. You're either gonna be in LA having fun and just coming to play and not giving a darn, or you're gonna play and have fun in LA and win. And that's the biggest thing. Yes, you have 162 games. You can maybe let up on some, but not a whole lot, because there's high expectations for the Dodgers.
Yeah,
they got superstars on this squad, but I kind of agree. Just because you have all these big name players on one ball club does not mean you're going to win the whole thing.
And I know it's only spring training, but I do think that the Dodgers spring training was a little worrisome.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I'd still say it's spring training. Like, they're still working out the kinks and everything. But
I get it, but I mean, as a Rangers fan and as other fans can be like, hey, we did pretty good. I mean, the Rangers had the second best league or second best record in spring training. Again, like I said, I get it. It's spring training. It's still games played. It's still important, and their prospects as well. So were the Dodgers playing their prospects? Of course they were.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of teams were, but still, only winning 4 games is not very impressive at all.
Absolutely.
Well, and here's my thing too, right? Is the Dodgers are always right near that dance for the World Series every year, pretty much, right?
Right.
When we're looking at like someone, like I said, I'm picking the Blue Jays. I mean, they're grinding it out. That's the type of club they are right now. They are nose to that grindstone, working out those kinks. They are practicing hard. They are playing hard. They have something to prove. Where the Dodgers know, hey, we can get up there real easy to the playoffs and stuff like that. We don't need to worry too much. And I think that'll get them. I think they might slack a little bit because they go, yeah, we're the Dodgers. Look at our star power.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. No, I mean, listen, that's very good insight. Real quickly, I think Kevin's actually just got some news that just popped up on his phone that he's going to share real quickly. Some breaking news here on the Fools and Stools podcast.
So this actually kind of pertains to what I was, Cullen was talking about. Kind of talking about the Twins. The Twins are actually working on a deal to get Chris Paddock from the Padres.
Do you think that potentially switches the AL Central at all?
No, I'm gonna keep what I have. I mean, it's a good pick for him. It'll help fill some pieces in there. And don't get me wrong, I like the Twins. They're looking good too. But man, that Central is a tough one too.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Brendan. So we talked a little bit off air about some robo-umps, some electronic sign calling, and we've also talked about how
bunch of funky things.
How the new CBA will change the look of baseball. So for anybody who's listening on the podcast who may not be an avid listener of baseball, maybe a casual listener, or just somebody who's getting into the sport, can you kind of break down in your best ability, how the new CBA will change the look of baseball and what fans should be looking for come this new baseball season?
Yeah, so like some of the big things they're doing, it's like some basically making players happy, things like that. Like kind of like we talked about the last time I was on here. The shift ban is going to be in effect next season. So basically now we're not taking that third baseman, putting him all the way out in right field to try to deal with those hitters, right?
Right.
So they're getting rid of that. That way we have more at-bats and then basically help kind of keep the pace of play up, what they're doing there. I've been looking at a pitch clock. So that'll be interesting. I'm sure when it first gets implemented, it's going to ding some pitchers, but once they get their stride going, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Another thing, kind of like what we talked about with the robo-umps and things like that, that's just for better accuracy in play calling, because that has been one of the biggest issues with baseball.
Yeah.
Human error, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Human error. I mean, it happens, right? You're behind home plate. You're not having the perfect vision like the catcher's having. The catcher knows exactly where that ball's going. He knows if it's a ball or not. And you'll have catchers where they try to like swoop their gloves if you watch and try to make it look like it was in the strike zone, things like that, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so that gets a lot of the umpires at times. So it'll be interesting to see because they're starting the robo-umps in the minor leagues to kind of work it out. I have no idea what that's going to look like, if they're just going to have a machine back behind them or if they're going to have like a computer thing and someone's just looking at it kind of like in the review booth and then just radioing down to them, here's the call. It'll be interesting to see that, but I feel like that'll slow down the pace of play too, like they were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because you're sitting there waiting on a signal to get to you, I guess we'll see what they end up doing with it. Again, we're modernizing baseball is really what it comes down to.
Yeah, no, I mean, and also too, I mean, it's the fact of how much they use it too is also going to be key because, if they look at every, throw to first and they're trying to review it and the umpire has to go under the 10, that's really not going to be good for baseball. But if it's in a key moment, bottom of the ninth and it's at the plate, obviously you want to take a look at it and everything. I noticed you mentioned, I really liked what you said about the human error aspect of it because I do think that can always use improving. The thing that I wanted to ask, is you were talking about the pitch clock and in terms of pitchers having to speed up their pace and everything. Who do you think that'll most affect in terms of like pitchers that take their time and maybe kind of sit there and need to, potentially change the routine whenever they're going up to face a batter?
Or do you think,
And
and let me just add a follow-up if I can. Do you think that benefits the batters at all?
It definitely would benefit the batters for sure, because at that point you're not sitting here. Because I mean, think about it too. A lot of the times between the pitcher and the batter, it's mind games most of the time going on there, right? I'm sitting here going, all right, I'm gonna delay you a little bit. All right, now I'm gonna change up my speed on my pitch, and now here I go. I'm gonna do my rotation a little bit quicker. Some pitchers will do that to throw off the batter, and those are gonna be your more experienced guys who can change their pace up. Now, like for example, I don't know if y'all saw, there was the second UT game where the pitcher was in his little jive motion there, going through his motion, just kind of keeping up with his own pace. And then you have a third baseman or a runner on third steal home on it to win the game, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, here's the big thing. That pitch clock, they're starting it out early. They're starting out with the minors. I think when it gets implemented, it's going to affect more of the older pitchers, and it's going to affect them. Because, again, with the minor leagues, that's easy. You can develop that real quick. You can get them ready for the major leagues with that rule change.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why they're implementing the robo-umps in the minor leagues. We're testing out. I mean, that's what the minors are. You test things out. You work with players. You develop them. It'll be real easy to kind of wash out that pitch clock issues with younger players versus those older players that haven't gone through the system yet.
Wow, very well said.
So,
I think the interesting thing is going to be, it's a 14-second pitcher's clock when there are no players on bases, but it's 19 when there are. I think that's going to be very interesting, just because and I think you're right, Kevin. It is going to trip up some of the players that are at bat, because it's like they may think, oh, it's 14 seconds, okay, I got some time, but then when it's 19 seconds, it's like, well, other way around. 19 seconds, like I got time, but 14, okay, you got to mentally get prepared.
And so what will happen, I guess this is just me not really, because I'm just thinking about it. So what would happen if a pitcher exceeded the pitch clock? It'd be an automatic ball or what? Or does anybody really know?
I haven't really seen what they've decided yet. I would assume it would just be a ball, kind of like, I don't foresee them making it like a balk kind of thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine that either.
That would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think they should do, hey, you ever see the pitch clock? Here's the ball. All right.
And they'll probably get a few warnings.
Right.
Especially if they implement
at the
it
beginning.
Like
yeah.
next year or something. They'll probably do it the first few weeks, months, or whatever.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So, Brendan, before we let you go, I do have a question for you. Who do you think with this upcoming season and even, this era of baseball that we're entering, that I think we could pretty much say is a modern version of baseball, or at least the most modern version of baseball that we've ever had? Who do you think leads, or who do you think's the face of baseball?
Man, the face of baseball, that's an easy question. Man, I thought you were going to hit me with something way harder than that.
Come on now.
Man, I mean, you got to give it to it. I'll start out with this, man. We haven't seen a player like him since the Sultan of SWAT. All right? This man's compared to Babe Ruth with the two-way play. This man's hitting. He had 138 hits last season, 46 home runs, 100 RBIs, batting average of .257, on-base percentage of .37, and slugging was a .59. And guess what? He also plays pitcher with 9 wins, only 2 losses, ERA of 3.18, strikeouts of 156. Can you guess who I'm talking about? I'm talking about the one and only Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, we know it.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, was this ever really a question, if we're being honest? Like,
Nope.
He is, and I'm going to say this because this phrase needs to be associated with his name. He is the only 6-tool baseball player in the game of baseball right now in terms of the major leagues. Now, maybe could the international growth, maybe this can, in the youth game and everything in Little League Baseball could, parents and coaches maybe train their kids to try to also pitch and hit so they could become Ohtani. It's going to be very hard for them to replicate what he's doing right now. But listen, Ohtani is about to bring a whole new wave of baseball player in, I feel like, and I'm so excited that we get to watch him play for years to come.
I don't even think it's a new version of baseball. I think he's just a once in a lifetime kind of thing.
I mean, it could be.
I just don't see the success of a pitcher and a hitter coming to fruition like it has for Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
No, and also,
Can you name me a pitcher last time that hit 46 home runs?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But my counter argument to that would be, we would have never seen a pitcher or a player like Shohei come in the first place, and now Shohei's here.
Yeah, I mean, I completely I'm not saying it's impossible. I just don't think it's like, how some people will come into the league or they'll come into an association. They'll be like, there'll be a different style of play. But like, okay, so this is how people are going to adopt to playing this certain way of that sport.
I'm just saying it's not impossible. I'm
not saying it is impossible. I just don't think like you're gonna have a Shohei Ohtani version of a baseball player on every team in the next 15 to 20 years.
It wouldn't be like that.
It's not going to be a lot of guys like that. Like we need to enjoy Shohei Ohtani while we have him, because
absolutely,
he is not only just great for baseball, but he's just
I mean, when you're mentioned in the same breath as Babe Ruth, like, you're doing something right.
Oh yeah,
and also like he brings the international game to a whole another level.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That is the biggest thing out of this whole entire game. Like, and I'm just gonna be real. He's not white, so that changes everything. Because, and the only reason why I bring that up is because baseball, if you look at players, most of them are white men, right? And he's not that. He's an Asian American. I think he's Asian. He's not Asian American, but he's from Japan. And the fact that he's the face of the MLB right now is huge, because you don't see that, right? And the fact that he's doing these things that, that are beyond comparable, right? Mm-hmm. Like comparing to Babe Ruth, that's huge. Yeah. And like I said, I just think the reason why I brought that up is because he's bringing it to a national, global stage. And I kind of trying to compare it to kind of like a Michael Jordan type, because Michael Jordan, he brought the global, he brought basketball to a global stage, and that's the exact thing that he's doing. It's a different type of athlete that's bringing the MLB to light, which is fantastic.
Absolutely.
Well, I completely agree.
Here's another thing too, and I mean, we're talking about international players. Let's look at this year. I mean, Vladdy Jr.
Yeah.
I mean, again,
the list goes
these are
on and on.
Future faces of baseball coming up here, and the International League has been helping that tremendously.
Yeah,
we're changing baseball. We're getting it out there in the world. I mean, did anyone watch the Olympics and watch the baseball in the Olympics? Because I did.
Yep.
It's fun to watch. You get to see the rest of the world start loving a sport that America loves so much. I mean, it's called America's pastime. Well, hopefully it becomes the world's pastime.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I could not agree anymore. Let's just hope the Angels don't find a way to screw it up.
Right. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen.
Heck, the Rangers will take them if they want to give them away.
Yeah,
that's true.
Gladly.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, Shohei Ohtani, I think, Anthony, you brought a really interesting point to light, because as an international player being the face of baseball, that's going to be really key for baseball players to kind of idolize, and maybe like kids, not just in America, but all across the world, potentially look and idolize Shohei Ohtani. I mean, we mentioned Shohei Ohtani, we got Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Brendan, you mentioned Julio Rodriguez from the Mariners earlier. We've got guys, in minor leagues and everything coming up. There's plenty of names that we haven't even mentioned yet. Baseball is very much a global sport, and Shohei Ohtani is only going to further help that cause. I'm so excited the fact that he's the face of baseball.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Well, Brendan, thank you for coming on to the Fools on Stools podcast, sharing your baseball knowledge with us, making your picks, and keeping it a little interesting on your picks as well.
Absolutely, guys. I'm here anytime y'all need me for baseball needs.
Yeah, appreciate it as always, brother.
All right, y'all have a good night.
All right, take care, man.
Peace.
Bye.
So, boys, now that we have gotten a little bit of baseball in the way,
out the way.
Yeah, out the way, not in the way. I don't know why I said that. Now that we got a little baseball out the way, let's talk about
Let's transition it over to the hardwood, Kevin.
Yeah, let's talk about what happened this weekend.
Yeah, let's talk about what happened this weekend.
Because the last time we talked to the Stoolies, to the Foolies, whoa, stuck on April Fools, I guess. Last time we talked to the Foolies, we were previewing the final 4 matchups.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And the championships.
Yeah,
in succession.
and the women's championship. So now that those have concluded, one, I don't think that we are at all surprised that South Carolina was able to pull off the win. Dawn Staley was able to get her second win and to continue staying as the coach of South Carolina.
Yeah.
Yes.
She was the
Yes.
first Black coach in men's or women's Division I basketball history to win multiple national championships. Congratulations to Dawn Staley.
Yep. Big congrats.
That was an all-around great effort from that South Carolina team. You could tell from the get-go. Not to say UConn didn't want it. I just think South Carolina just wanted it so much more.
Yeah, Paige.
Just that devastating loss they had last year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they were so hungry for this.
Oh, yeah. Paige was all by herself, man. She was on an island by herself.
It was...
She was the only member of the Huskies to reach double figures.
Yeah, that's a problem.
You just can't have that.
Yeah.
Like, when you are in the championship game, when it matters most to play the best, you have to play your best.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen. So I know we give credit to Aaliyah Boston on the show for absolutely going out there and being the physical presence that she was. She did have 11 and 16, her 29th double-double of the season. Destiny Henderson led all
goodness.
scorers with 26 points.
A career high.
Career high.
I just want to just give her a quick shout out because, again, in the biggest spot, she had her best game of her life.
Not easy
Safe to
do.
say.
Not easy.
That's not an easy spot. Want to give her a great shout out. Also, this is Gino Oriema's first championship loss. He's now 11-1.
That's insane, bro.
I mean, his dominance over college basketball, I still think is
It's not going to come to an end anytime soon.
No way.
They'll be back. But yeah, credit to South Carolina. They were the more physical team. They played bigger. They were more efficient from the field. It just seemed like Paige, again, she didn't really start anything in the first quarter, and it was like a 22-8 game after the first. And then she started to get going. I felt like she waited too long to try to, get the scoring, kind of get the engaging, maybe trying to get her teammates' involvement. But ultimately, it's just a little bit too late, and South Carolina got the dub 64-49.
Yeah,
But
that
Paige,
was.
when she was balling, dude.
Oh, yeah.
That little run around that she did, take on the entire defense and then run around, do that 360 and then make that was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, you see why like she's viewed as highly as she is. I mean, she does stuff that no other woman, whenever she shares a court with anybody, can do.
Yeah.
Just with her skill set, her ability to hand the ball, score off the dribble, be able to create for teammates, run the pick and roll, run the ball screen and everything, the dribble handoff, all of that. It's incredible what she's able to do. I'm excited for her to get into the WNBA along with Aaliyah Boston.
Yep.
But ultimately, we all sat there and watched the game. The three of us, we all picked South Carolina, and I don't think any of us were really concerned once the game kind of got underway.
No, not really.
I wasn't really concerned at all.
UConn tried, and Paige tried their absolute best to. I mean, dude, like I said, South Carolina just wanted it so much more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out where Ozzy was and where Edwards was, and I was like, well, I guess they're not playing. I guess they're just sitting at home watching.
Yeah, Ozzy didn't score her first points until the fourth quarter.
She shot a 3-pointer
That was it.
from the corner.
Was that the only point she made the entire night? Was the three?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Like, I was looking for her everywhere. Like, you were the top, and nothing against her. She's a baller, right? She's a bucket getter. But you were the top recruit in this class to come in, out of high school. And she just didn't show up. Maybe it was the physicality that South Carolina had. Maybe it was just, the big stage. This is the championship game, because UConn, if you go to UConn, it's called championship or bust.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, look, like we said, the UConn's not done.
No.
They're not done.
They'll be back.
They'll be back for sure. And
Now it
this will
depends.
probably just feed it more.
Yeah. Now it just depends who's going to be back with them, because it's going to be South Carolina, Stanford, UConn,
Yeah.
and that's
Listen, respect to Louisville, respect
and
to Texas.
and Texas.
Respect to all of them. They'll all be in contention. Big congratulations to all the women for putting on a heck of a tournament. Obviously,
This one was a good one.
yeah, we followed it here in the studio or whether we were at home, and just want to give a quick shout out. But it wasn't just the women that did some balling. We also had the men's national championship game this past Monday night, in which the number one seed Kansas defeated number 8 seed North Carolina.
Well, we didn't
72.
even talk about Duke.
Yeah, well, it's Duke. Yeah, well, we're gonna get into it. We're talking about national championships right now.
Okay, all right.
Kansas defeated UNC 72-69 to win the 2022 national championship, rallying from a 16-point deficit to stun the Tar Heels inside the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans. Boys, I cannot talk because, as Kevin mentioned, I picked the Duke Blue Devils, and unfortunately, Coach K's run came to an early exit in the Final Four over those same North Carolina Tar Heels. And so, yeah, I was kind of sitting there with I lost my bet early, so it was really just Kansas versus North Carolina, and yeah, it was a heck of a game from a neutral's perspective, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, and I was sitting there, and after the game, I couldn't talk because, I had to give my credit to Kevin. And is Kevin always right? No. Are his hot takes always wild? Yes.
Yeah.
Always.
But this time, he was right. He was right. Kansas came back.
Yeah.
They came back strong.
I mean,
They did.
the thing about it is that when I picked Kansas to take over UNC, I wasn't even thinking of Kansas as the favorite. I didn't even really think about it, the fact that Kansas was actually the favorite team in this matchup as far as seeding goes. I said it once, I'll say it again. UNC was not a number 8 seed in this tournament.
No.
They were not nowhere near a number 8 seed in this tournament.
Yep. Absolutely.
So whenever I was thinking Kansas UNC, I'm thinking this is a tough matchup. This is not a walk in the park like Kansas Villanova was. I understand Villanova had their reasons, had their things. I get it. Very unfortunate. But this is not like that. This is essentially a 1-1 matchup, in my opinion. That's how I saw it. This is a number 1 versus a number 1 matchup. That's how I saw it.
Yeah, well, the seeding goes out the window whenever you get this late in the tournament, let's be honest.
I mean, yeah,
that's
exactly.
true.
So, I mean, let's be honest. Armando Bacot, if he's not injured and he doesn't injure himself again in that game, which shout out to him for doing everything possible to put on for his team, do the absolute most for his team. I mean, UNC played a hell of a game. Obviously, came down to the wire. Caleb Love is an absolute stud, a star. That UNC team is really good.
They just ran out of gas, man.
I mean, they ran out of gas. They had some unfortunate things going on that, when I cannot remember his name. But whenever that one UNC player was on the floor coughing.
Bacot?
No, he was on the floor coughing. I can't remember his name though. Yeah, super helpful.
You got to do the research on that one, bud.
Yeah,
I know Bacot got injured. That's about
Yeah,
it.
no,
Yeah.
I mean, and
that was a
was
big
a big
hit
one.
for the UNC, but I mean, it just shows how dominant Kansas is. I mean, Lightfoot, Abaji.
yeah.
I mean,
Remy Martin.
Remy Martin. I mean,
Yeah.
you name that roster was.
Yeah. Ochai Agabaji did win the tournament's most outstanding player. He was the Big 12 player of the year as well. Definitely had a very impactful tournament. He recorded 12 points and 3 rebounds in the win, averaged 18.9 points per game on the season. Like I said, it was a 16-point comeback. It's the largest NCAA title game in history. Previous mark set by Loyola Chicago back in 1963 over Cincinnati, which was 15 points. Just a little fun fact there.
His name was Puff Johnson. for
Puff
UNC.
Johnson,
Yeah.
yes. Puff Johnson, of course.
Yes.
PJ.
Hopefully he's all good though.
So and I know we're about to get to the next topic in the NCAA, but so I got the Super Bowl right. Kevin got the NCAA tournament right. Anthony, you're due, brother.
You got to pick the World Series, I suppose.
I guess like whoever you pick for the World Series or maybe the NBA championship, like you're due. Like
Okay.
it's your time, man.
Okay.
Pick the Mavericks.
We'll see. But did you know that Remy Martin, guess where he went to high school?
Where did he go to high school?
Cedar Canyon.
Wow.
Yeah, in California, where a lot of superstar players that are playing in the NBA right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
makes sense why they won the championship.
Yeah, it's true. But hey, listen, congrats to not only, Kansas, but also South Carolina. Both really great championship games. Obviously, March Madness is one of the best times of the year for sports fans.
This is a great year for the tournament. I know this was really my first year. I kind of feel spoiled,
Yeah,
but
you are spoiled. I hope you know that.
I
You are
mean,
spoiled.
the run
Yeah,
from
that's
St.
true.
Peter's was historic. Doug Edert is on the move
transfer
for the
portal.
transfer portal a lot. So were two other players from St. Peter's.
Yeah, their head coach went to Seton Hall, too.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty cool. Doug, come to UNT. We got a lot going on over
Hey,
here.
listen, you need a campus tour, Denton. We got you.
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
we
for
got
sure.
you. Don't even worry about it.
And come on the Fools on Stools podcast.
Yeah,
dude.
absolutely. We'll
Yeah.
give you
Come be with your buddy Tyler Perry on the Barstool.
Yeah,
on
come
the Barstool
come
side.
sweat in this this hot ass room with the fools recording these podcasts, man.
Yeah.
Listen, but we're gonna get one more topic in here before we switch it over. Big 12 Commissioner Bob Bowlesby will step down from his leadership post at a later date in 2022 after a decade leading the conference. The league announced yesterday. This decision becomes after a tumultuous year for the conference. Texas and Oklahoma announced that they would be leaving the conference for the SEC. The league followed that up by opting to bring in BYU, Houston, UCF, and Cincinnati as new members no later than the 2024 season. Bowlesby did add that there was not one thing in particular that led him to his retirement, but that all the things that were being reported essentially were a factor in his decision. Boys, we talk about the Big 12 a lot because of, the geographical location to our audience, and a lot of people root for Big 12 schools, whether it's Texas Tech, whether it's A&M, or not A&M, whether it's Texas Tech or, soon to be Houston or any of these schools or whatever. But now that Texas is going to join Texas A&M, that's where I was thinking, and Oklahoma's moving to the SEC, I kind of want to just talk really quick. What is y'all's thoughts for the future of the Big 12?
I just want to talk about the retirement. When you lose two big schools, as in OU and what's the other school?
I think it's the University of Tejas.
Tejas. They put the horns up or they put them down?
I think it might be sideways. Actually.
Sideways,
or maybe like
sideways?
facing forward, or maybe
okay.
or maybe reverse. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe like Spider-Man.
I think so. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, maybe like Spider-Man. Friendly neighborhood.
Right, exactly.
When you lose two giant schools,
I don't like either of them.
when you lose two big schools like that, it really puts a lot of pressure on you because it's like those two schools bring in a lot of money, and a lot of players, and a lot of recruits, and it's like when you lose OU in Texas, it's like, okay, man, I just lost like a couple M's, a couple millions, and it's like he's like 70 years old now, I think. He's on up there, so I think after losing that, it put a lot of pressure on him, and I think it was right for him just to step down because it's like you can say you can come back from that, but bro, there's no coming back when you lose those two. I'm just saying, that's just me.
Yeah, I think it's just time for a younger mindset to maybe get in there and think of some new ideas to promote the new conference and everything. And I mean, listen, I think the Big 12 is going to be roped in terms of competition, everything. In terms of clear favorites in sports, some sports is going to change because of this, obviously, because Oklahoma and Texas have done their fair amount of work in their respective sports, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, whatever. So this is a big move and everything. I am hopeful for the Big 12 though, because again, maybe that's a league that potentially UNT might want to get into in the future. I know.
We'll see.
Listen, they let in UCF. What was it? UCF, Houston, BYU, and Cincinnati.
Yeah,
and some of those teams are coming from the conference that UNT is joining. So
that's true.
Listen, I hope the Big 12 well. Obviously, the SEC is becoming a demigod conference to say the least. But I think the Big 12 still can thrive and survive. They just got to make sure they, whenever they hit the ground, they got to hit the ground running.
Yeah, I mean, hey, look at what's happened in basketball the past 2 years. With basketball, Kansas won, Baylor won, two schools that came out of the Big 12,
and are staying.
So I mean, it's up there, it's growing, and I think you're right. A young mind will help grow the league.
Absolutely, but. Now that we've kind of sit here, and we will be talking more college sports whenever baseball kind of gets ramping up, and eventually whenever we get college football back. But for now, we say goodbye to college sports. Thank you again for what you guys have done in terms of entertaining us. But yeah, moving over to the association, as my friend Kevin Walker likes to say. We got to talk about some teams in terms of the plan, or in case of the Lakers, the ones who are not even going to be making the plan. The Lakers officially eliminated from the postseason after a loss last night to the Phoenix Suns. This and many other recent actions by one LeBron James have come at the expense of critical acclaims of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Magic Johnson. Kareem saying that he considers some of the acts LeBron James has done to be embarrassing and beneath him, quote unquote. He has since apologized for those. And for Magic coming out and saying that it's LeBron James deserves blame for DeMar DeRozan not being a Laker. Obviously, DeMar DeRozan's having one of his better seasons as a Chicago Bull. And boys, I know we haven't really talked about the Lakers all too much, and there is a certain guy that we are probably going to be talking about that we have mixed emotions on, but I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on the whole Laker disaster.
It was a disaster from the start. I mean, look, they are a bunch of old heads who, they can ball, but they just can't ball together. That's the thing. Playing in New York with Carmelo Anthony and his whole squad, if you watch anything on Instagram with that, kind of summer team that, a lot of players come and play in New York City at a gym, that's not the same thing as playing NBA ball. Playing pickup with your boys is not the same thing as playing a whole 82-game season in the NBA. It's not the same. The chemistry was awful. Frank Vogel has got to get out of there. He's a defensive-minded coach. These guys are very, very wise, I like to say. And LeBron was really just the only one who was dragging these guys along. Mm-hmm. These guys are in their prime. This is not the Dwight Howard that played for the Orlando Magic. This is not the Carmelo Anthony that played on the Nuggets or the Knicks. This is the same LeBron. LeBron has not changed. And this is not the Russell Westbrook who played for Houston, who played for Oklahoma City, or even the Wizards. Like getting Russell Westbrook was a bad idea. Great player, Hall of Fame, first ballot. I don't care what anybody say. Like, no one can second guess his heart or his competitiveness. But the chemistry was just off from the very beginning, and they're just going to have to do a complete restart. And I hope that they find someone in the draft that can help, because, look, I did some research, and looking at what they had before, let's just go with before LeBron James, they had Kuzma, Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Jordan Clarkson,
Josh Hart, all those guys,
Julius Randle. The Lakers would have been fine if they just kept draft picks.
Yeah.
But the Lakers don't do that. They don't like them. Okay, not the Lakers don't like draft picks. It's LeBron James that doesn't like draft picks.
Yeah, well, he doesn't like playing young players. He wants veterans.
Exactly. Whenever he goes to a team, he's not afraid to ship them out real quick. We saw what happened with the Andrew Wiggins in Cleveland, right? He shipped him out to Minnesota, got Kevin Love, brought him to Cleveland. The same thing happened with the Lakers. He shipped all the rookies out, got Anthony Davis, and now they're in New Orleans, probably going to be in the play-in, and the Lakers are just going to be out. So it's going to be a big shift this upcoming offseason, and we'll just see what happens.
Did you see the New Orleans Pelicans tweet?
I did.
They said, that's all, folks. The New Orleans Pelicans are going into the play-in game. They remembered.
Oh, yeah.
And it's very ironic that the Pelicans are going to be the one that is in the playoff game, in the play-in game ahead of the Lakers, because, again, a lot of those players were traded for Anthony Davis, who missed a lot of time this year. And listen, I'm going to break it down because, Anthony, you did a great job and everything, and I'm really happy that you brought up the supporting cast for Lakers because, listen, LeBron James does deserve his part of the blame for this. I don't believe he deserves the most blame, but he does deserve some of the blame. LeBron James, at the end of the day, did request that they go get Russell Westbrook after, I think, failed attempts to get before I think they tried to get, it was either, not DeMar, it was drawing a blank. I think it was Damian Lillard that they tried to get, but they couldn't get Dame, so they went with Russell Westbrook.
And they also tried to get Buddy Hield.
That's exactly, yes. Okay, that was the other name I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And again, LeBron, again, at his age, he's not the greatest defender in the world. So, and there's moments where you can see LeBron, because he's having to do so much on the offensive end, isn't the best defensive player that he once was. However, I'm not going to be sitting here with a guy that potentially could lead the NBA in scoring, who's still trying to run the offense as a distributor. Whenever he goes to the bench, the Lakers are night and day in terms of efficient offense. and just a guy who's still giving you rebounds and everything and still playing in his 19th NBA season when he's got his second co-star who, when he's not being injured, which is a lot of the time in Anthony Davis.
I'm sorry, he got to go.
Look, he's just not up to the level that the Lakers were paying him. He's down ever since he won a title. Like his play has fallen off. Not to mention Russell Westbrook, as you mentioned, is a complete disaster.
He got to go too.
The supporting cast, whether it's Carmelo Anthony, whether it's Dwight Howard, whether it's, all those guys, those old guys. Kendrick Nunn, for crying out loud, hasn't played a game this year, and he was supposed to be a contributor for this team. Malik Monk's been inconsistent. Avery Bradley's old. And then again, Frank Vogel, he's done his best that he could, but I think his message is kind of worn out. I also think Rob Pelinka deserves some blame in this too for his roster construction. The Lakers got a lot of work to do, point blank. But yeah, no, I think they got a lot of work to do. Hopefully they can get younger. Maybe trade Anthony Davis or Russell Westbrook if they can.
Ooh, please, please, Rob Pelinka. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, sweet mother of peanut butter. Oh Lord, you're a great guy, but oh please, where's Jeannie Buss?
Yeah,
where's she at?
We need Jeannie.
I knew, man.
We need Jeannie.
I need her to just take over, just because obviously you're in charge,
Right.
Like, rest in peace and power of your father. Yes, you're in charge. So I think everything just needs to run through her.
Right.
Because LeBron, I get it. You're the star. I get it. You are ESPN.
Right.
You are the NBA. You're the superstar, period. And I get that. But, bro, you cannot be making these decisions still. They know what they're doing. I understand. You're going to be a GM one day. Guaranteed. An owner. You're already owner of many teams. But getting these guys that
He's owned 4.
For what?
Already.
For what?
Teams.
Yeah. No, well, he's been on 3, but he's 4.
Yeah, but he did his own thing on every one of them.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, you need to let these.
Oh, you're right. Excuse me. Sorry. Go ahead, Anthony.
You need to let these owners and people, especially Jeannie Buss, who's really been cultivated in the Lakers franchise, to take control and find good people for this team. Because what happened this year, this is the worst team that has ever been in the NBA. Put together
expectation-wise, obviously, not the worst team ever, but for the expectations that they had, they are one of the worst.
Yeah, and we've seen some of these Laker teams back in the day with high expectations. The Dwight Howard, Steve Nash, Karl Malone, Gary Payton on that Lakers squad with Kobe. That was terrible. This tops that exponentially.
Absolutely. Kevin, you want to get in here before we switch over?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think that. I know a lot of other media and a lot of other people have talked about this Lakers team all year. They keep failing. They're not leading up to the expectations that we held, blah, blah, blah. I think that we've done a pretty good job at not doing that and kind of shying away from it. Kind of really just talking about the
comparative, the national media. And
yeah,
everything.
Of course. With that being said, and this doesn't even really come from my LeBron hate or anything, you just can't build a team like this. Tell everybody, kind of what Anthony was saying, tell everybody what to do, tell everybody who to hire and everything like that, just to have a really bad season like this. I get it. LeBron's had some injuries here and there. Anthony Davis has basically been absent since the year started. And there's been a lot of there's been questionable play from Westbrook. A lot of stuff has happened. I get that. You can't tell the future. I get it. And a lot of people are telling him, adding LeBron, hey, y'all got an old team. This ain't gonna work. Like you're saying, oh yeah, no, it's gonna work. It's gonna work. Blah blah blah. Y'all just remember what y'all saying. I get it. More often than not, we be wrong. Because even when he put out that tweet, I was like, yeah, we're probably wrong. He'll probably go do something.
Right.
There's been a lot of stuff that's happened this year for the Lakers. A lot of horrible things. A lot of things that is not normal with the franchise, especially with a franchise with the back history that the Lakers do.
Mm-hmm.
Players like Magic Johnson, players like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar have the right to go on and say, hey, what you're doing is, quite frankly, basically pissing me off. And is
they're voicing their frustrations.
Exactly. I mean, with a team like that, you're gonna maintain the love, even when you're far away from the sport.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just
When you're the best player on the NBA team, it's like a quarterback in the NFL. You're going to get the most credit when you win, probably when you don't deserve all of it, and when you lose, you deserve some of that criticism too. And LeBron should be no different.
And just look, I don't know the exact status of his injury. I don't know all that. LeBron didn't play last night. Last night was the Lakers' last possible chance for a play-in opportunity. He did not play.
Yeah.
Like I said, don't know the status of his injury. Don't know if they're just willing to recoup for next year. All I'm saying is, I get it. Frank Vogel's going to get fired. Do I think that he needs to get fired? Yes. But do I think he was the ringleader for the whole thing? No, I do not.
Absolutely.
LeBron needs to let the people do what they need to do, because he's not going to be there for long anyway.
Yeah. Well, listen, and we'll see his future on that come. Maybe the offseason, we'll see what his potential plans are. Obviously, he's going to have the shop, so maybe he put some breaking news on that, or maybe we hear something else. But
he did put some breaking news out on the shop. I don't know if you guys saw it.
Yeah, I saw the thing that he said about Bronny and about Steph and everything.
That's pretty nice.
Steph was I'm talking
about for him personally, like in terms of like potentially moves that he's going to do for himself. But, however, I want to talk about another team that did not meet expectations really quick as we're kind of wrapping up the hour here. The Brooklyn Nets. Kevin Durant dropped his career high. I don't know if you guys realize this. Kevin didn't even believe the number when I told him. 55 points, going 19 of 28 from the field and 8 of 10 from three-point land in a losing effort to the Atlanta Hawks, 122 to 115. The Nets are currently the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference and are projected to play the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first play-in game in order to determine who gets to be the 7th seed. Durant was quoted saying that the Nets can't remain undisciplined heading into the postseason. Kyrie Irving is back. Ben Simmons, I think we're all in agreement, is not going to return to this team this season. Boys, is there any hope for the Nets, or is it just simply just try to...
Like I said a few episodes ago, when you give a player like Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, even Seth Curry, if you give players like that a shot at doing anything, all bets are off. All bets are off. Kind of like you were saying in the NCAA tournament, once you get that far, seeds don't matter. When you have players like that, seeds don't matter. Where you came in don't matter. If they can get past the play-in and they can find themselves in a legitimate spot in the playoffs, the Nets can do anything. Let's face it.
Anthony?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the Nets remaining schedule, they're playing the Knicks right now. It's the Knicks, the Cavs, and the Pacers. And that's really the end of the season. They're 7-10, tied with the Hawks and the Hornets as well. And I don't know if the Nets will make it. I hope they make it. I mean, that's the goal. But they could end up just like the Lakers and just be out of it. The fact that you lose to the Hawks, who are in the play-in right now, you should have beaten that team. You should have destroyed that team, especially if you're Kevin Durant. I saw that one-legged jumper. That was incredible. But that team has a lot of superstars on it. They have a lot of supporting cast. They've had high expectations for the past 2 years, and it's just not holding up for them, for the Nets.
Yeah.
I mean, they got a lot to figure out.
They do. And ultimately, we will see whenever the NBA play-in tournament begins how far the Nets can go. But I think we're all in agreement. They've got a puncher's chance. Ultimately, they do need to fix their defense, their rotations, not to mention Steve Nash. Don't play your starters every single minute of the game. Even the greatest players, they need their rest sometimes. So hopefully Steve Nash can get on top of that. Last thing before we do the scoring update, Zion Williamson potentially returning to the New Orleans Pelicans. His stepfather came out and said that he does expect Zion to play. He's had a very interesting timeline with his offseason foot surgery.
I mean, what the hell are the New Orleans Pelicans doing?
They don't know.
What is going on over there?
It's New Orleans, baby.
I mean, it was New Orleans and it was Portland. Then it's New Orleans. What the hell is going on with Zion Williamson? I mean, we see him dunking in practice. Or not even practice, just whatever he's doing. We see him practicing. We see him being athletic and doing everything that somebody with a bum ankle isn't supposed to be doing. Look, his stepdad says that he should be joining the team, but we have heard nothing from Pelicans PR, nobody insider. Nothing. What the hell is going on with somebody that was so highly touted to be the next generation of a player in Zion Williamson? What's going on?
Here, I'll tell you what's going on.
I mean, they have a shot to even be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what's going on. Zion's not playing. There's no point. There's no point of him playing this season. He wants out of New Orleans. You know he wants to go to New York with R.J. Barrett and that squad. I mean, New York's not the best place to go right now because, you know, New York Knicks are not playing the best basketball in the world right now. But we all know he didn't want to go to New Orleans from the start, especially when he got drafted to New Orleans. In New Orleans, they are one of the interesting teams and have one of the most interesting ownerships in the league right now. And there's no way Zion's playing the rest of the season. I don't care. He's not playing in the play-in. No way, Jose.
I just don't think that he wants out, though. Maybe before,
Well,
yes, but
for sure he wants out.
Even if he wants out, he's a restricted free agent.
He
whenever
can't
his
leave.
Yeah, the Pelicans can literally match whatever contract he's given. So he's got to stay there regardless anyway. And they're going to match whatever offer he gets and then attempt to trade him
they're going to
afterwards.
supermax him. They know that's the only way they get to keep him. I mean, you add CJ McCollum, you have pieces in New Orleans to actually do something.
You're right. I get that. You have.
I do agree
Ingram.
with you. I do think whenever he first got there, he's like, get me the hell out of this place.
Yes.
I think now it's not so bad, but as far as his health, how he's been dieting and all that crap, I get it. That's nothing that we need to speak on. That's all his agents, his team, his everything like that has to decide that. All I'm saying is whatever New Orleans is trying to do with Zion, they either need to get hella pick compensation for him, or they need to start playing him. Because if he's okay to play, why the hell is he not playing?
I mean, we saw the video that he released of him dunking, him sitting there going through drills. I mean,
naturally that sparked up rumor or sparked up like, hey, you know, is Zion coming back soon?
Right.
I mean, the Pelicans are trying to do something, trying to come back. They have a plan spot, but lo and behold, we haven't seen anything.
Ownership. That's the main reason.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the transfer of it obviously has an effect to some degree. Listen, Zion, it's not all on him, or it's not all on the Pelicans. Zion also has to take some culpability in this. We've heard JJ Redick criticize him for not being a great communicator, especially when CJ McCollum got traded, that you need to sit there and pick the phone up and call your teammate and sit there and reach out to him. Listen, I'm not defending the Pelicans by any means, but to act like Zion hasn't been sitting there and listen, you're a grown man, you're a grown athlete. You got to sit there and control your weight. Either get a trainer, get a chef, or anything. Like you've got to sit there and do your part as well.
You get paid millions. You should have no problem to get your life
exactly.
intact.
And listen, I'm fully for Zion getting healthy and taking the time all that he needs. But part of the reason that he's had these issues is because he can't control his weight.
It's New Orleans, baby.
I don't care if it's New Orleans.
Hey, look.
I don't care if it's New Orleans. I don't care if it's New York. I don't care if it's the freaking buffet down the street.
Okay, look.
You got to control yourself. You got to
If you're a
control
$1
your
million
weight.
machine, you are required and you are expected to be a well-oiled machine.
Because if he doesn't keep it under control,
he just said you're a grown man. You can do whatever the hell you want. That's a fact.
Exactly. And
you're not required.
But you know what?
If it's not literally in your contract to be best.
And if you want to sit there and eat po' boys all day and eat the crawfish and eat whatever the hell New Orleans has got you, be my guest, and you can chill with the bums that live on Bourbon Street. Because if he keeps doing the way he's doing, he won't have an NBA career to save if he doesn't take care of his weight.
That's true. And also, I don't just blame. Look, and I'm not just blaming Zion either. This reminds me of Anthony Davis, Zion Williamson, two very big superstars, right?
Yeah.
Ownership really didn't work with Zion right now and Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
AD wanted out. I'm not saying Zion wants out, but you're not hearing nothing from ownership.
I mean, you did kind of say that Zion wants out.
I mean,
look,
you can tell he
say
does.
that.
I
But
think
like at the end of the day,
AD
this is nothing new.
AD at least did his. I see the comparison you're trying to make. AD did his time with the Pelicans at least.
Yeah, and AD went out there and balled and showed what case of a player he is, and then realized, okay, I can't win here. Let me get traded. Zion, at the end of the day, on terms of the NBA level, has not proven jack. Not yet.
No.
So
we're talking about somebody who's supposed to be Rookie of the Year, potential MVP. I mean,
Like,
we're talking about somebody who's just supposed to be the next
big thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Face of the NBA. And
he has
I
done
understand that.
Nothing.
Yeah,
Coach K would be upset.
Yeah, he's no John Moran, that's for sure.
No.
This is a
Jaw's
Odom.
laughing.
This is a Odom, Kevin Durant.
Jaw's looking down at him.
Oh yeah, Jaw's laughing.
This is a
Can't believe he got
Odom
picked.
and Kevin Durant situation.
It could be that way. Hopefully, it doesn't end that way. Obviously, we talked about Kevin Durant last topic. It's funny that you bring up Zion Williamson. But before we close out the hour, Anthony, you got some scoring update?
There's not a lot of games going on, so we're gonna shift that out to the second hour. But for all the people who have listened,
you don't want to preview. You want to tell the people that are coming up any of the games.
well, the Brooklyn Nets are not winning against the New York Knicks right now. So that's going to be something to talk about. We just talked about it. But we're going to move out and go back into the second hour of the Fools on Stools podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening to hour 1 of the Fools on Stools podcast. Check us out on all social media platforms from Twitter, Instagram, and Spotify. For Kevin Walker, Anthony Council, Cullen Brown, we'll see you guys in hour 2. Stay foolish, y'all.